SQL joins. We went through primary keys, foreign keys, what they were. We saw examples. We also went through the different kinds of joins: inner join, full join, left, right join, union, and also cross join. And we did examples, right? So today we would apply those concepts to our actual database we've been working with. That's the Patch and Posy database. So first things first, right? We'll try to just get familiar with the ERD. This is the entity relationship diagram. So we've seen this before, right? But just to get familiar with it once more. This will help us in writing our queries, right? So you're trying to join these different tables together, and we'll be leveraging their connections, the primary key to foreign key connections. So let me annotate. So if you look here, right, we have the web events table, and this table is linked to the accounts table via the account ID column. So the account ID, right, this ID here is the primary key in the accounts table. The accounts ID also exists in the web events table as account ID, right? So this is the primary key, and account ID here is a foreign key. So if I'm trying to connect accounts to web events, right, I will use this connection, account ID to account ID, right? That's how it's connected. Similarly, right, accounts and others, they're also linked by a similar field, account ID to account ID. So this is primary key, and account ID exists in the others table as a foreign key, right? This is a foreign key. If I'm trying to write any query to join accounts and others, then I will use this connection, right? Account ID to account ID. The same way also, right? Account and sales reps, they are connected via the sales rep ID. So this sales rep ID is connected to accounts, right? Sales rep ID. So in the sales rep table, the sales rep ID is the primary key. This exists in the accounts table as the foreign key, right? We're trying to join these tables together. We'll use what? This primary key to foreign key connection, sales rep ID to sales rep ID. And lastly, sales rep and region, right? They are connected via the region ID. So you have region ID to region ID here. So we're trying to join these tables together, right? We'll use the region ID, which is what's primary key to foreign key connection. So this is how these tables are connected, right? And we'll use this knowledge, right, to answer some business questions. So let's look at some of the questions we'll answer. So let me share my full screen so you can see my SQL Server Management Studio also. Yeah, share. So on the next slide, right, we have a question, right? We are asked to return the standard quantity, the gloss quantity, the poster quantity from the orders table. So if you remember, right, from prior lessons, this database, right, is for a paper company called Patch and Posy. They sell different kinds of papers, right? So once we return the standard quantity, the gloss quantity, and poster quantity columns from the orders table, and then we also want to return the website and primary person of contact from the accounts table. So we are trying to return data from two different tables. So we'll be leveraging SQL joins to achieve this, right? So if I open up my SQL Server Management Studio and I zoom in, right? So these are database, Patch and Posy. And you have our tables, right? The tables folder. So for this query, right, from our questions, we are trying to return data from the accounts table, which is this, right? You have the following columns: ID, name, website, down to sales rep ID. And you also have the others table, right, which has these following columns. ID, account ID, down till total amount USD. So using these, right, we'll write queries. So what I can do is, let's just edit this. So we asked to return the following columns. Back to my slide. Once we return the standard quantity, gross quantity, and poster quantity from the orders table. So let's write a query to do just that. So I have my select statement, right? Select. So for the orders table, right, we'll give it, okay, let's do it normal way. Select orders table dot, so standard quantity. From the orders table dot, right, return the standard quantity column. So standard underscore QTY, this is how it's spelled. We also want the poster quantity also. And we also want the gloss quantity also, right? These are all from the orders table. So I also want from the accounts table, right? I want the primary POC and the website. So still in my select statement, right? Just to confirm how those columns are spelled. So website, right, is website. Primary POC is primary underscore POC. So I'll do that, right? I'll come on here to my query. And I'll add those columns. So from the accounts table, right? Accounts table dot website. And also I want accounts table dot primary POC. Right. So these are all the columns I want. Like they'll be in the select statement. So the next thing I want to do is I want to return from what table now, right? From orders. You could do it either way, right? So from the orders table, right? So I'm trying to get data from two different tables, right? From orders, right? Then I'll write my join statement. I want to join the orders table. On which table now? So I'll say what from orders, join the accounts table, right? Accounts. And how am I joining? So if you go back to my ERD, right? When you come on here to the ERD, you see that what accounts and orders, how are they linked again? They are linked via account ID to orders account ID, right? ID in accounts is linked to what? Account ID in orders. So this is the ID, primary key. This is account ID, foreign key, right? So that's how we do our linking. So back to my query, right? Let's write that in query terms. So I'll say join accounts on, so accounts dot ID, right? The ID column on the accounts table is equal to the account ID column, right, on the orders table. So orders dot account ID, right? So note that this join, right, is simply what's the same as an inner join, right? That's what I want. I want to return the matching record from both tables. So inner join, they mean the same thing. So once I have this right, let's execute this and see what it gives us. So I execute my query. Okay, connect. So it says invalid object name orders. Okay, I'm running this from the wrong database. Let me just create a new query, patch and posi, new query. So let me paste that query here now and on it should work. So let's run this again, execute, and you have my results, right? So when you look here, you see the results. So previously I was running it on the wrong database, but it should be correct now. So you have standard quantity, poster quantity, and gloss quantity, right? These are from the orders table. we're able to return the corresponding website column and primary POC, right, from the accounts table. So to make our query cleaner, right, you can use what's called aliases. So others accounts. I can just say what from others, I'll put an O beside others, right? So what I'm saying is what use O as the alias for others. So going forward, right, anywhere you have O is representing what's others. Instead of typing others in full, I'll just type O, right? And it should serve as if it was others. Same thing, so I'll put an A here, right? Alias, right? So A, going forward, A should represent what? Accounts, right? So now instead of others, I can just have what? O, since that's the new alias. I have O here. I have just O here. Same thing here to O dot plus quantity. And accounts, right? What's the alias now? That's A. So I'll put an A there also. A dot website. Come on here also. I'll put an A also. A, right? A is now representing accounts. I put an A here also. And I put an O here also. So this is now a cleaner query, right? And this is useful when you're writing very, very large queries. When I execute this, right, the exact same result is returned, right? So you can see I have the exact same result set. So we're able to combine data from two different tables, right? The accounts table and the others table. We're able to return the corresponding result. So 1, 2, 3 columns are from the others table, and website and primary POC, this from the accounts table. So let's see the next question that we asked. So the next question says we should provide a table for all web events associated with account name of Walmart, right? So first things first, I can infer that when you talk about account name, right, that's from the accounts table. So I need the accounts table. Then also, we are told that we should have 3 columns. We have to include the primary POC, time of the event, and the channel for the event. So the primary POC, that's from the accounts table. Time of the event, this is likely from the web events table. And channel also is from the web events table. And to confirm this, right, when you go back to the ERD, it will help you to better answer this, right? If you look at the web events table, when you look here, you see what channel, right? We also have what occurred at. This is like the timestamp when events occurred. So you have to return the time of the event and the channel. These are both from web events table. We also have to return the primary POC, which is this, right? That's from the accounts table. And then we have to filter on the name, where it's just Walmart, right? So we are working with 2 tables, the accounts table and the web events table. So next thing you ask yourself is, how do I join these tables, right? For my diagram, they are linked via what? Primary key to foreign key, right? Web events account ID to account ID. So once I have this, I can proceed with my query. So back to my SSMS, right? I come on here and I'll run a new query. So let me do something, right? Let's just look at what the tables look like individually. So select star from web events, right? So just see what is in the web events table. Let's see what it looks like. Execute this. So this is my web events table, right? Let's make a new query also to show the accounts table. And then let's look at what it looks like when we join it together. So I'll make a new query. And the same drill, right? Select star from the accounts table. All right, I execute this also. So this is what the accounts table looks like, right? ID, name, down to the silver ID. And same way, this is what the events table looks like. You have ID, account ID, occurred at, and then the channel. So note that our result set, right? We need what these two columns, occurred at, channel, and then we also need from the accounts table, we need the primary POC, which is this, right? So one column from the accounts table and two columns from the web events table. So let me make a new query where we'll try to return those results. So I want three columns, right? Select. So now I'll use aliases, right? So for the account table, I can use an A, right? Instead of accounts, I'll say what A dot, what's the column name? Primary POC, right? Primary underscore POC, that's what I'll do. Comma, web events. Instead of the full table name, I'll use what W to represent it. So W dot, what's the column name? We want channel, right? So channel, comma. We also want the time of the event. That's the occurred at column. So I'll say W dot occurred at, right? These are the three columns I want. From what tables now? I want it from, so you could go either way. You could start with web events or accounts, right? Either of them works. But for this table, we are trying to filter on the account table for some conditions, right? So I could say, let's do from web events. Then I'll put the alias, right? W. So this W, right, means web events, WW. And I'll say join accounts table and alias, right? A. And how do I want to join? I want to join on a.id, right? Account ID is equal to web events account ID. So I'll say a.id, account ID. Account ID is equal to w dot account ID. Why is it giving me an error? Let me confirm. Web events table. How is it spelled? Web events columns occurred at. Okay, there are two arrows, not one arrow. That's the issue. So I put one more arrow there. Right, this. Yeah, it looks correct now. So you can execute this, right? So this is what I want, these three columns, primary POC, channel, occurred at, from these two tables. So I can execute this. And this is my result set, right? It's showing the primary POC, the channel, and the time it occurred. But then that's not all we want to do, right? We are given some conditions. We are told to return this result where the account name, right, of Walmart. So if you look here, right, it says what account name of Walmart. So we'll leverage on our previous learnings, right? Filter, we'll put a where clause, or we could do it differently actually, right? But then let's use a where clause. So say where the account name is equal to what? Walmart. This should filter our results, right? And we are told here to what? We could add a fourth column, right? To assure us that only Walmart events were chosen. So we'll try to add the account name column. That way we'll confirm that currently you're seeing just Walmart results. So let's do this. So I'll update my query to ensure I meet these conditions. So I come on here and I'll add one more column, right, for the account name. So I'll say what account name, that's the name column, right? A accounts dot name column and the comma. So when I execute this, right, you have one more column added. That's the account name. So you can see all the accounts, right? This is 1 month, but when you scroll down, you see other accounts, right? So you can see other accounts currently, but I want to see only 1 month now. That's what I want to see. So I want to start for Walmart, right? So I'll come on here and I'll add a condition, right? So I could do it in two. I could say what join account A on where this is equal to this, right? And I can now say what's and right account name, right? And the account name is equal to, so I'll put Walmart in quotes, right? Walmart in quotes. So I'm saying what I'm saying, choose the primary POC column from the accounts table, the name column, the channel from the web events table, or code at web events table. So from web events, right, join the account ID on primary key to foreign key, right? This is my primary key. The ID column on the accounts table to the foreign key, account ID web events table, right? So join this, but now also consider it only the results where the name is equal to Walmart, right? So I say, and the name is equal to Walmart, right? There's one way you could do this. When I have this, right? So currently you have other names, right? You're seeing what all states. When you scroll down, you'll see other names, right? The name column, that's the account name, right? So when I execute this new updated query, let's see what happens. This is my result set, right? I have just 39 rows. So let's check our results now. When I scroll down, right, you see that what that's all. I went to the end of my results. You don't have any other names showing up. So currently I've been able to filter for only Walmart results, right? Then another way is what you could do is so you join your join, right? And you can then say what where a dot name, right? Where a dot name is equal to Walmart, right? When I run this also, you see you have similar results also, right? When you do that, you see what the same thing. So 39 rows are returned, right? 39 rows are returned. So similar result set you have. So those are two ways you can do it, right? But then when you have several joins with multiple tables, it's best to just use the AND method, right? AND method, right? So most times that's more accurate when you have joins with multiple tables. So these are two ways you could try to do the filtering. So let's go to the next question. I think this answers that question, right? Return those 4 columns and get only the results for those that are Walmart. So we've done that. We joined the web events table and the accounts table. So let's look at the next question, right? So this says, provide a table that shows the region for each sales rep. So it means I need to show the region, right? Region name, this from the region table. And also their associated accounts. That's the accounts table, right? So my final table should include 3 columns: the region name, the sales rep name, and the account name. Sort the results alphabetically according to account name, right? So let's quickly scroll back to our diagram, right? We want 3 results, right? So first, I want account name. I also want the region name, right? This. I also want the sales rep name. That's this. So you can see in this scenario, we're joining 3 different tables: join accounts, join sales rep, and join the region table, right? To then return those results. So we'll leverage our joins, right? Sales rep and accounts, they are joined by sales rep ID to sales rep ID. Similarly, sales rep, right, is joined to region ID to region ID. So we'll use this to do our joins. So before I filter for those 3 columns, right, I'll do something. I'll show us the whole result set. So you see how joins actually work. So let me So I have this off my head, right? That's why it's easy for me to write it. But if you're doing it for the first time, you find that you need to reference the ERD, that diagram, right? You need to check it and update your query, right? Maybe you make a mistake, you go back to your ERD, you look at what you're missing. Maybe you're missing the joining, right? Okay, this account ID to account ID. Then you update your query until you get the correct query for your result set. So for these, right, I'll just do a select star before I filter for those 3 columns. We want the region name, account name, sales rep name, right? But for now, I'll do a select star. So show all the results sets after joining. Select star, right? So let me start with the accounts table from accounts, right? And I will join sales rep. Join the sales rep table. Sales rep, right? And let's assume that I'm not sure. I want to confirm how they are joined, right? Accounts and sales reps, how are they joined? I go back to my diagram, right? So these accounts and these sales rep, account sales rep, right? These are they are joined. Sales rep ID to account sales rep ID. So the ID column is sales rep, right? That's what I would join with what? The sales rep ID on the accounts table. So once I confirm these, right, I go back to my query and add that joining. So I'll come on here, right? Join sales rep. So from accounts, right? Join sales rep. How do I join sales rep? On. So I could add aliases, right? Accounts A, sales rep S. So I can right click in that query. So I'll say on. So s.id, right? The ID on the sales rep table, where is equal to what? The accounts table dot sales rep ID, right? Basically. So let's run this one by one. Let me run this and see let's see the result set, right? So when I run this, execute this, right? So look at my results. ID, name, website, latitude, longitude, primary POC, and sales rep ID, right? So from the first column down to here, this is the accounts table. And just to confirm these, right? When you look at this query here, right, the exact same thing. This was for the accounts, right? You see is what? ID, down to what? The sales rep ID, primary POC, etc. Right. So the other parts, that's now the sales rep table, right? So here ID, name, region, right? These are the columns from the sales rep tables. ID, name, region. And if you check our ARD, right, the exact same things, what you see. Sales rep has 3 columns, right? ID, name, and region ID. Let me annotate if you want to see it. So it has 3 columns, right? ID, name, and region ID, the exact same thing. So that's we want to join 3 tables, right? So I need to add the region to my result set. So I'll come on here, right? And I'll add another join to my query. So I'll say join the region table, right? So region table, I'll give it an alias R. And I know that what sales rep and region are linked together, right? Accounts has no connection with region, but account has a connection with sales rep. So I link account to sales rep. Now sales rep is linked to region, right? So I'll also link sales rep now to region. So I'll say join region R, right? On. So I know that what's the region ID, right? The primary key. And this is linked to what? The sales rep table S, the region ID here, right? This is how they are linked together. So note our current result set, right? It stopped at what? Region ID, right? Currently, you have 9 columns, right? These last 3 are from the sales rep table. So I expect to have 2 more columns that are joined here, right, from the region table. So I come on here to execute this. So this is my query, right? Execute this. And you can see now we have 2 additional columns, right? The ID, region ID, right? From ID from region table and the name. So these 3 are from the sales rep table, and these last 2 are from the region table. So you've been able to join three different tables together, right? So now from this final result, right, our end goal is to return just three results. The account name, which is this, right? The sales rep name, which is this, and the region name, which is this, right? So what you do is instead of select star, you then just return those results that you want. So instead of star, right, from the entire result, just return the account name. So that's a.name, right? Comma, and also return the sales rep name, right? S.name, comma, and the region name, R.name, right? So um, our final result, right? Let's run this. It will be correct, but it won't be easy to read because of the same column names, right? They all have name as their column names. Let's execute this and see our final results. So you can see what this what name, name, name. So this is hard to tell. Is this account? Is this region? Is this sales rep? It might not be easy to decipher, right? So I'll come on here and I'll give these aliases. I'll say name as, so give it an alias, right? I will say as accounts. And I'll come here, right? The same thing. So s.name, I'll say as sales rep, right? And here I'll come on here and say r.name as region. So once I have this, right, I can execute, and you see the names are now updated, right? These are now called account, these are called sales rep, these are called region. And these are my final results set, right? So let's go on to the next question. So the next one says, provide the name for each region for every order. So this is the region name, right? You want the region name as well as the account name. So two things now, region name, account name, and the unit price they paid. So unit price, right? Basically, you're dividing what total amount divided by total, right? To get unit price. Unit price does not exist. You need to derive this, and you divide what this column, total amount USD by total to get the results. Your final table should have three columns: region name, account name, and unit price. Then you're giving additional tip, right? Some accounts have 0 for total. So when you divide, you get 0 error, right? So you have to what? Add 0.01 to avoid those errors. But later on, you see how to deal with this, right? But then this is the tip you're giving for this question. So we want three columns: region name, account name, and unit price. So you ask yourself, what tables do I need for this, right? Region name, that's from the region table. Account name from the accounts table. Unit price, this is derived from two columns. Amount USD by total, right? And this from the others table. So we need three tables: region, account name, and others. So what do? You go back to your ERD, right? How are these three tables connected? So when you look here, right, this is the accounts table, this is the region table, and this is the others table, right? So I need to find a way to what? Link this down to this, right? Others, accounts, and region. So if you look very well, right, others is linked to accounts. However, both others and accounts have no direct connection to region, right? But then we can use an indirect connection. So if you look here, right, there's no connection directly between others to region and accounts to region. However, you have an indirect relationship, right? Both accounts and region, they are linked to sales rep. So for my query, right, even though for my result set, I don't need anything from sales rep. I need just what? Region name, account name, and unit price from the region, accounts, and others table. I don't need this table for my results, right? This sales rep table. However, I'll add this to my query, right? Because I can't link accounts and others directly to region. I'll need to leverage this indirect connection with sales rep. Since accounts is linked to sales rep and also region is linked to sales rep. So I can't add region to the accounts and others query results, or else I leverage this indirect connection with sales rep, right? So that's the catch here. So let's write the actual query. So we want to return 3 columns: region, account, and unit price. So let's do this. So I'll come on to my query, right? Select. So I want to return region name. So I can say what's arrow dots name, right? I'll just give you a name as region, comma, and I want to return the account name also. So I'll say a dot name as account, as account. And lastly, I want to return the orders table, right? So just to add some context, let me just show you guys what the orders table look like, right? This is the orders table. So select star from orders. So when I run this, right, you see the orders table, what it looks like. So this is the orders table, right? You have ID, etc. But once you get unit price, currently there's no column that's called unit price here. We want to derive it, right? So this total here is what's showing you total quantity. This showing you what's total revenue, right? Total amounts sold. So to get unit price, I will divide total revenue by total quantity, right? And this from the orders table. So that's what I would do here now, like query. So I'll come on here and I'll say region name, account name, and then in the orders table, right, divide total amount USD. So O dot total amounts USD, right? This column, divide it by what? Just give a space, so it's easier to read. Divide this by, so a slash, right? What's happening? Divide this by O dot total, right? Total column. And then give it an alias, right? As call it unit price. Right, that's the catch. So I have my columns that I want to return, right? The next I want to do now is from what tables, right? So I can start from orders, right? From orders, alias, right? O. I can say as O, right? That works also, but then it's not a must to put the as there. You just ignore the as, right? So O, and then I'll say join the accounts table, right? Join accounts table. I'll give you an alias A. How on, so I know that what account and others, right? They are joined by the account ID from the diagram. So I'll say A dot ID is equal to O dot account ID, right? And then next, I want to join the region table, right? But back to my diagram, like I explained earlier, right? There's no direct connection between account and others. So we'll try to leverage this indirect relationship, right? With the sales rep table. So to add region, I'll need to add this connection between accounts and sales rep, right? So I'll say s.id, right, equal to a.sales rep ID before I can then join in the region table, else it won't work. So I'll come back here and add that, right? So I'll say join the sales rep table, right? S on s.id is equal to accounts, right? Accounts table dot sales rep ID. Yeah, cool. And now I can then join the region table now, since sales rep also has a connection with region. So I would say join the region table, alias R, right? And I would say on r.id, right? Region ID is equal to sales the region ID. So once you have this right, we can execute our query. So I come on here and run my query. I expect to get an error, and I'll explain why. So I execute this. So it says what? Divide by error, 0 error encountered, right? And that's based on the tip we're given, right? There are some 0 values in the total column when you divide by 0, right? So we need to add what? Total plus 0.01 to ensure we don't divide by 0. So it might give us some inflated results, right? But they will be negligible for now. So I'll come on here and say, instead of total, right, just add 0.01 to, so plus 0.001. Is this or 0? So I'm saying what, divide this by what, total plus 0.001. So add 0.001 to all the total quantity values, and then use that to divide the amount of USD, right? When I execute this now, see that the error is taken off, right? So here you have the region name, the account name, and then what's the unit price, right? For all those result sets. So you have all this you have all these decimal numbers, right? In SQL, you can also try to round this up, right? So hopefully you might have a chance to go through that if you have time, but then you can round this up and just maybe to 1 decimal place, etc. So that's for this question. So let's go on to the next one. So this is provide a table, right, that shows the region for each sales along with the account name. But this time, right, only for the Midwest region. Final table should have 3 columns, right? Region name, sales rep name with, yeah, region name, sales rep name, and account name. So I think the exact same query we have, right? We just make some slight modifications to it. So in this case, we need just 3 tables, the region table, the sales rep table, and the accounts table. And then we'll filter for just the Midwest region and then sort our results alphabetically, A to Z, by the account name. So let's try to modify our existing query, right? So for this, it says we need just 3 things, right? The region name, the account name, and sales rep name. If I'm not mistaken, let me just confirm. Region, sales rep, account name. Yeah, let's do that. So I'll come on here, right? So I don't need the other table. I can take that off, right? So I can say from accounts A, right? And pick it off, right? From accounts, join the sales rep and subsequently. So I need the region name, yeah, account name. And now I need what the sales rep name. So I'll take all this stuff out. I don't need this, right? And I'll add what's S dot name. So sales rep dot name, right? As sales rep. So I have region account sales rep, right? From accounts table A, join the sales rep on what? S.id to A.id, right? Join region on how.id to S.id. Then we are told to do two things. We are told to filter for just the Midwest region and then sort by account name. So let's do that. So first things first, right? You must just confirm the structure of your tables, right? So I'll come on here and say, I want to look at the region table, right? I want to filter by for Midwest. So for the region table, how is Midwest spelled? Is it spelled in capital letters, proper case, etc.? So I'll know how to structure my query, right? So I want this query, and when I look at the region table, right, Midwest, capital M, and then proper case, basically. So I'll come on here and do that. So some DBMS, right, they are not case sensitive, while others are. But it's best to just maintain best practice so that it would save you time, you'll be more efficient. So I'll come on here, right, and I want to look at just the Midwest. So I showed us earlier, right, like you just come on here and do an and, right, for the region. Join the region on how.id equal to this, and also, right, show only the results where and r.name, so the region name, right, is equal to Midwest, right, Midwest. Before I run this, right, okay, let me comment this off first, and then we'll run it after. So Control / to comment this. This didn't work. Just cut this off. So let me run this first, and then we'll compare our result sets later on. So currently, right, if you look at our results, it's showing you different regions. This is Northeast, right? When you scroll down, you see Midwest, etc. But I want my results to contain only Midwest, right? That's the end goal. So I'll come on here and add that query now. Control V, right? So I'm saying what? Return the results. And so join the region and also, right, return only the results where the name is equal to Midwest, right? Where the region name is Midwest. So currently, look at our number of rows, right? You have 351 rows currently. So let's add that now, execute this. All right. You can see our results is now what? 48 rows. Also, right, look at the result set. When I scroll down, you see that what? Only Midwest, right, is returned. Right, only Midwest is returned. So you can also use a where clause, right? Where if you want to use that also, that works. So and lastly, right, I want to sort by the account name. So that's the order by clause, right? So I'll say order by the account name, right? A.name. From A to Z, that's ascending order. And by default, right, order by does ascending order. So like this, right? I have this. So currently, you see that what is currently it's just random, right? There's no order here currently, it's just random. But I expect to have what account, right? Where the name is A and then downwards. So when I execute this now, let's see what the update would be. So you can see, right, it's now ordered, right, by the account name A downwards, right? So this is what we want to return for that example. So let's come back here and look at the next question. So this is similar to the previous one, right? Let's see what the difference is. So it says provide a table that shows the region for each sales rep along with the account, right? But this time for only accounts where the sales rep has the first name starting with S and in the Midwest region. Your final table should include 3 columns: region name, sales rep name, account name. So the exact same thing. We're just adding a new it says do for descending order. So I come on here, right? And what I'll just do is I'll just add a keyword, right? DEST, that's descending order. So order by the account name in descending order. So when I execute this, right, you can see what is now changed, right? You now have what the reverse XWU and then downwards down to A, right? So that's descending order. So for this new question, right, we're asked to add a new condition where the sales rep name starts with an S, right? So I want to confirm something. Let me see if we have the same results. So when I come on here, right, I'll just come to this join. So join the sales rep, right? Where on ID to ID, right? I can add a new condition that says what? And the sales rep name, right, starts with S. So S dot name, right? That's a sales rep name. S dot name like. So starts with, right? Use a like clause for that. And you do your wildcard character filtering. So like, so I'll put in quotes, right? I'll put S and then a percent sign. This means what? Only names that start with S, right? So join the sales rep table, but filter for only those where names start with S, right? Once you have this, then join your results to the return table. So you have to understand what your query is doing, right? So from this first place, right, from the accounts table, join the sales rep table. It joins all the matching values, right, account to sales rep, right? And when I say and s.name like X, it's saying what? Now, return only the results where the sales rep name start with S. You know what? Let me just run this so you see what no, I'll get some errors. Okay, but then when you run this, right, you see that all the names there will start with S, right, for the sales rep. And then next now, this result you go here, right? Then join this now to the region table. And then also return only those where the region name is Midwest, right? So we're trying to do. So let me execute this now and see the final result. So we expect to see that what all the sales rep, right? Only the S, that's the first name is S. That's what we'll see, right? Currently we have this different names, right? So let's execute this and see. Execute this. So you can see, right? Only the ones where we have S as the first name, Shalin. If I want to confirm something, if I do it this the other way, right? So instead of the and, I use a where clause. So I'll say, where s dot name, right? Like, so I'll come on here, s, right, and percentage. And r dot name is equal to Midwest. So I should get the same results, but I think it's performance that'll be different. So this is what I want, right? So the exact same thing, right? Join all the tables. Once you're done join everything together, then filter your final results, right? Where the name starts with S and the region, right, is equal to Midwest. So I expect to have this exact same result, right? This exact result I have here, the exact same thing. I expect to have it community down to US Bangkok, the same name here. So I execute this. And you see it's right, the exact same thing, community and shilling also. So the difference, right? So this is useful when you're trying to optimize your queries. Maybe you're working in a firm, right, with very large data. You're joining several tables together. This method now, right? This would not be an optimal way to write your query because here you're joining the whole tables together And then after the whole join, you then filter your results, right? But the previous method, right, they are being filtered before they are joined, right? So it's more effective, right? So this here, right, you find out what at the point of joining, you're doing your filtering already. So sales rep, I'll filter those that only contain S and join the results to accounts, right? Same thing. Region, I'll filter those that only Midwest and then join the results to what? The results here, right? So this is more effective. You're joining before, you're filtering before you join. But the where method, right? You first join everything together. So if you have millions of tables, you join all those rows together first before you start filtering the results. So you find that what's in large production environments, that might slow down your results, right? That's something you should note. So let's go back to our questions. So the next one, the exact same thing, right? But this time, where the last name starts with K, the same Midwest region, but last name starts with K, right? This just editing, right? This query. So the last name starts with K. This is tricky. Let me show you why I say it's tricky, right? So this name now, right? Shelling, wet printing. So when you say the last name starts with K, it means that what? So currently, right, what you're doing is what? Is the word, right? When you do this S percentage, it means what? Look at the very first letter, right, in this word. You see an S, return the results, right? When you swap it around, right, and you put S after the percentage, it means what? Look at the last word. That's the N, for example, here now. Look at the last word. Does it contain S? Return the results, right? So if I run this, for example, you see that what? Only those that end with S are returned, right? But now we're trying to now filter the first word. So the last name, right? For example, that would be what? ROWLES. We're now filtering in between the word. So you're searching through CHAW. You find what's where the last name, right? Rouse now, where it starts with W. I think that's the question, right? Where it starts with W. Yeah, so currently you can see that it's not case sensitive, right? It returns the both the upper and lower case results. So it's not case sensitive. So it says return those where the last name starts with K. So I come on here, right? What I can do is, so you use logic to solve this, right? So you see the last name, right? The last name. So using the like statement, for example, if I want to look for the word, those that contain ON, for example. So I'll put ON and I'll put a percentage before and after the word, right? So I'm saying, look through the sales rep names, right? And return those that contain ON anywhere in the last name. When I execute this, right, look at the result set. What's the error? Yeah, cool. So these are the results, right? So I'm saying what, look for the names, right? Anywhere you see the word ON, return those names, right? And you can see what all these names here, they contain ON somewhere. It could be the beginning, ending, anywhere at all in the word, right? The exact same thing, I want to leverage it. Since, right, the last name is the second name, right? Shelling, wet printing, that's the second name. But then all the last names, right? There's a space before the name, right? So first name is space, and then what's the last name, right? We want to find those that the last name starts with W, right? So we just do what? Search through the entire word. Anywhere you see space and W, it means that what? That's the last name where it starts from, right? That's the logic we'll use. So I'll come on here and I'll just put a space, right? And a W. So this just telling you that what isn't logic, right? Where the last name starts with W. So search through all the names, right? Where you see a space and then a W, it means that the last name starts with W. Once I have this, right, I can execute. And let's see if it works out. And you can see, right, this is the only guy sharing word printing where the last name starts with W. And you see it checks out, right? It looks accurate. So sometimes you need to just apply logic, right, to what you're doing to get your final results. So let me see what's next we'll have. So we want to return 3 columns: region name, account name, and unit price. I think we've done this previously, right? So the name, account name, unit price. However, we want to filter for only results where the standard under quantity exceeds 100, where the standard order quantity exceeds 100. So I don't want to write this from scratch again. I'll just do a control C till I get back to the one we did previously, right? I think there's it. Yeah, there's it. So I have this, right? From all this. So where the order quantity, right, exceeds 100, right, if I'm not mistaken. So it says where the order quantity exceeds 100. So basically, where total more than 100, right? That's what I'm filtering for. So I come on here and you could do a where clause, right? You could do, so here I'm saying from others. So I can't use the and clause here, right? A where clause would work in this instance. Or else I'll change this others. And I can say from accounts, join others on this, and I can now say what O dot total is more than quantity, right? So I'll use a where clause in this example. So I'll say where O dot total, right, is greater than 100. So let me run this without this filtering. Let's compare the results. So without the filtering, right, I just highlighted all the other queries and excluded our filtering condition, right? Execute this. Okay, you know what? Let me also return the total column. So we'll confirm if our query is working. So I'll say what, also add O.total to the results. So we'll confirm if our filtering is working. So I execute this, right? Yeah, cool. So this is currently our total columns, right? You can see that some of them, 169,288, they are more than 100, right? So now let's add this filtering condition now. So some are more than 100. When you scroll down, let me see. Yeah, you have this one, this 0, right? You have a 0. You have this 33. No, that's 1,000. So most are over 100, right? But I'm sure. Okay, you know what? Let me just order by. Let me order by. Let me order by. Let me order by the quantity. Order by O dot total. Yeah, cool. So you have several that's 0, right? You have 5, you have 2, you have 13, etc. Right? Awesome. So let's add our condition now. Filter, right? So the where clause comes before the order by, right? So I'll put the where clause before the order by. That's the syntax. Where clause comes before order by. So now I expect that all these ones that are less than 100, right, will take it off. So execute this. And you can see, right, all those 0, 0, 23, etc., they are all off, right? It's now filtered for those that are more than 100. Cool. So this is just a slight edit to our original query. So the same thing, right? Region name, account name, unit price. But now, once you just make small edits, right? Provide the results where the order quantity is more than 100. And so standard order quantity is more than 100. And the poster order quantity is more than 50. So let's just do this, right? So you have standard and poster quantities, right? It should be more than, so standard quantity is more than 100. So what this, just to confirm that what we are doing is correct, right? So I'll say what O dot poster quantity, no, poster quantity, and also O dot standard quantity also. So that way you can confirm that our filtering is working, right? And now I want to filter for where the standard quantity is more than 100, right? So O dot standard quantity is greater than 100, and O dot poster quantity is greater than 50, right? So for all our results, right, this must exceed 100, and also this must exceed 50, right? That's the catch. So let's execute this and see our results. Execute. Incorrect syntax. Yeah, greater than. Let me run this again. Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. So you can see that what's poster, right? More than 50, standard more than 100. When you scroll down, the exact same thing throughout. So I think we're almost done. Let me see. Okay, so I have two more queries. So let's look at this one. It says, what are the different channels used by accounts ID 10? Okay, I think we have one last thing. We asked to what sort for the smallest unit price first. So this is just simply right. We just sort by unit order by unit price, order by unit price, right? So you can see it's now in ascending order, right? Smallest to highest. Cool. So let's go to the next query. So this says, what are the different channels used by account ID 1001? Your final table should have only two columns, account name and the different channels, right? So two columns. You want to link account name and channels. So account name, that's from the accounts table, and channel, that's from the web events table, right? And we are not told to what, use select distinct to narrow down the results to only the unique values. So for this, right, I'll just quickly go to our ARD, right? So you see that what web events and accounts, they are linked by account ID to account ID. So one, two columns, account name, and then the channel, right? So this is straightforward. Then we'll filter for only account 1001. So back to my query, right? So select, so A dot name and W dot channel. So just to confirm, right? We want to return account name and channel. Yeah, that's correct. So I can see from channel, or anyhow, right? From channel. No, from web event, sorry, that's table name. web event W join accounts A on w.account ID is equal to a.id, and then we are told to return the results, right, for account ID 1001. So use by account ID 1001 here, and then you just select these things. So let's run this first before adding our filtering. Let's see what it looks like. So I execute this. Let me add the account ID also, so I can say a.id. That way we'll confirm if our filtering is working. So currently I'm seeing 1001, but I see other account ID 1041, but one just 1001, right? I come here and say join this on this, and I can see and a.id, right, is equal to 1001. This is a number, right? So you can use 1001. If it's text, you put single quotes, right? This is a number. So 1001. Currently, I have about 9,073 rows, right? And I execute this. Let's see what. So currently, I have just 39 rows, right? And you can see only 1001 is returned. But now you have to just do what? Select these things, right? So I'm having duplicates. This Walmart direct 100. You have duplicate values, right? But on the unique values. So I'll add what? A distinct to my select. So I select distinct. All right. Once I execute this now, it's not showing me what's the distinct values, right? So Walmart add what? 1001, Walmart banner. Just showing me basically the unique channels that this account has used, right? AdWords, banner, direct, Facebook, organic, and Twitter. And this answers the question, right, that we asked. It says what are the different channels used by the account? And he has showed us that. The last question, right? Find all the others that occurred in 2015. Final table should have 4 columns. Occurred at account name, total, and other total amounts USD. So this is simply working with 2 columns, right? Account name, that's the account table. The other ones occurred as total amount USD. They're in the others table. So 2 columns, others and accounts table. So I come on here to my query and select. So let's work with account name, right? A.name name as accounts. And then let me just confirm once again the columns I need. 3 columns. So I need occurred at, total, and amount USD. So occurred at, right? O dot occurred at O dot total and O dot total amounts USD. So I can say from accounts, right? Join. So accounts A, join accounts A, join others. O on, so they are joined by A.id is equal to O to account ID, right? So account ID is equal to others dot account ID, right? And afterwards, we turn those that occurred only in 2015. So I can say on this, right? And the dates, the timestamp column, right? That's occur that O dot occur that, right? According to 2015. So I can say is on. There are several ways to do this, right? You can use date function. I can say what is between. So I can say O1, O1. Just saying between, so the dates, right? The timestamp column is between the first day of 2015 and the first day of 2016. That's basically what 2015 to 2016, right? January 1st, excluding January 1st, because timestamp, right? They start reading from 12 a.m. right onwards. So this timestamp is saying what from 12 a.m. on the first day of 2015 till 12 a.m. on the first day of 2016. Basically 11:59, right, of 31st December 2015. This is just saying what 1 year, right? 2015 down till 31st December 2015, excluding the first day of January. So when I have this right, let's see if this works, execute. So let's zoom in, right? This is the account name, this is the date, right? This is the total quantity amount USD. And the date should only have 2015, right? It's 2015. Let's go down. So I'm seeing just 2015, right? It looks like this works. Let me scroll to the end. Or let me just do an order by. So order by the date, right? So order by O dot occur that descending order. So from the latest date, right? Let's see the latest date in our query. So I execute this. And you can see, right? It's showing you what 2015, December 31st, right? This is midnight, this is close to midnight, 23:21, etc. So it looks accurate, right? So this is the result set for our last question. So at this point, right, time spent, are there any questions that you have based on what we've done? Else we can wrap up for today. So if you have no questions, right, Gamma, Camille, I think we can wrap up for today. So thank you all for your time. And okay, I have a message. Okay, it's clear. Okay, awesome, awesome. That's good to know. So thank you all for your time and have a great night's rest and an amazing remainder of amazing week ahead. I will catch you guys next week. Good night. Yeah, you're welcome, Gamma. Good night.